Hey you guys, welcome back to my garden. Samantha here. I want to show you what the gardens are looking like for September. So we're going to do a big garden tour to give you a glimpse into my 3-year-old cottage garden. Now, a lot of this stuff has been expanded and planted just this year, so you're going to see a lot of very new plants in the ground that haven't had time to mature and grow up, but there's a lot that's been planted last year and even the year before that. So let's get going. I am on the pathway that goes from my front porch of the house. And I've got alyssum lining the lower area. I've got large baptisias here. These bloom out with really beautiful purple spikes in the spring, but then they look like these really gorgeous shrubs for the rest of the year. And so I really love these. I have 6 lining the driveway. I also have some petunias in the ground. There's purple salvia lining the beds. I've got some globe arborvitaes that are going to give us some evergreen interest in the winter time. As things start to die back this fall, we'll see those more. But let's go down this way. I don't know if you can see the hydrangeas in the screen. I just planted Limelight hydrangea standards on 4 corners of the driveway. So when you come up the driveway from this direction, you're going to see those 4 hydrangea standards lining the driveway as you come up, and that's just going to be gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous for years to come. Just put those in the ground this year. All right, so now we're at an angle where you would come up our driveway, and so you see the hydrangeas behind me, but then also I planted out these lamb's ear. They're Helen Bonstein lamb's ear lining the driveway as well. I started with 2 plants that got really large last year, so I divided them up into almost 30 plants. They were really small and they're filling out super nice. They've worked really well along this driveway in the heat of the summer because they like the heat, they like being dry, and they've done phenomenally well. So let's go this way into the cottage garden. So this is what I call my cottage garden right here. It's right after you cross over the driveway. We enter in and I've got cleome, I've got cosmos, I've got roseanne geranium down low. I just transplanted some of this lemon coral sedum to give a lime pop. I had it in other flower beds over here that I'm revamping this fall. So I'm starting to dig some things up and plant them out. So we've got some knockout roses, the double pink knockout roses. I've got 3 of them, one here, and then one behind me. So if you keep coming this way, we've got options. We can continue down the path under the pergola where we have the wisteria growing up, or we can go down the stone pathway right here that leads more towards the chicken coop. So I think we will go ahead and go this way, straight through the pergola. So if you can see this bloom right here, this is a different variety of rose. This is a Belinda Dreams rose, and the blooms on this are really beautiful. Let me see if I can find a fresher one. Here's one right here. Oh, there's a stink bug. You see that? This rose is really, really nice. It's done super well for me. It smells amazing. I really love this rose right here. We keep coming down this way. This is my wisteria growing up, and I love that it's finally climbing over the arbor that we built. We're going to put in a bridge going over the dry creek bed that we created because the gardens were getting flooded out that first year when I started making these beds. And so out of necessity, we did a dry creek bed, which adds so much whimsy to the garden as well. But we still need to do a bridge. That's on the to-do list. Hopefully we'll get that done this winter. So right here is the entrance into our vegetable garden. Ignore the vegetable garden because it is super overgrown. We got a lot of work to do in there to make it easier to maintain year after year. However, I just planted out, you can barely see them, These are little lime punch hydrangeas on each side of the garden entrance. Those are going to grow up and be really gorgeous next year, so I'm super excited to be able to have those. Just put them in the ground a couple days ago, so they're still very, very small. But if you come with me this way, this is a newer pathway that I've been working on. I've got a rose right here. This bloom is gone. It literally just fell apart. But I love the Limelight that's growing up beside it. This shade of pink, it's actually kind of a two-tone pink, a deeper pink in the center and then a lighter pink on the outer edges. It's starting to fade a little bit. We just had a lot of rain this morning, so some things are looking kind of wilty. But I love that the Cleome is here. It self-seeds, and so hopefully I have a lot more of those next year. I've planted out some Walker's Low catmint that I dug out of the front flower bed because I'm going to be completely revamping those flower beds this fall. But I've got some My Monet Weigela. I've got 4 of these that I planted along the pathway to add some extra interest. This variegated foliage will look really pretty even when there aren't any flowers on it, and just give some extra color so everything's just not solid green. I've got 2 sting arborvitaes. I've got one here on this side of the vegetable garden and one on the other side behind you. And those are going to grow up to be about 10 to 15 foot tall and stay like 2 foot wide. So they're going to be really tall and skinny, evergreen interest. They're going to look gorgeous as they continue to grow. So let's keep going down this way. More of the My Monet Weigela dotted throughout. I've got my chased tree right here. I just cut it back some because I wanted to get more blooms, and I am getting some up towards the top and on the other side. It will flush out some more. I can see little buds coming in on it. You see the little flower buds? These are going to turn into the purple spikes like this one right here. I've got this rose here. I want you to come and look at this. Look at the color of that. It's so pretty. We transplanted this here from the backyard right before we installed the stone wall. So we dug this up, we put it over here. It's absolutely gorgeous. It's going to get big and full, and the blooms are so lovely. So we've got another My Monet Weigela. And this right here is the Encore Azalea Autumn Carnation. This is a double azalea bloom. So pretty. It's going to get about 4.5 foot tall and about 4 foot wide. It's evergreen, so this will be a wonderful shrub to have here in the garden. We'll continue on this way. Oh, we're going to have to hurry. I just heard thunder, but we are going to try to beat the rain. I've done tons of work on this pathway right here. We moved the spirea over to this spot because the 2 spireas were touching. You couldn't get through the pathway. I changed the pathway up a bit, added a few more bigger stepping stones, moved the Bobo hydrangea just a couple days ago. So I completely redid this spot right here, and now it's much more accessible, and it just looks so much better and so much more purposeful, and it's not overcrowded. So looking good there. Now I'm gonna go ahead and head this direction and show you a brand new flower bed we just started installing a couple months ago, and it is looking fantastic. So if you head this way, I've got a Pocomo crepe myrtle right here. This is a dwarf size crepe myrtle. It is just starting to get one tiny little bud. I don't know if it's gonna bloom. One little bud. I don't know if it's going to bloom for me this year or not because I did just put it in the ground. It does have that, but it's going to stay about 2 foot tall and wide, so very small. I've got a euonymus back here that's going to grow up and stay evergreen. That's going to look really beautiful with the variegated foliage. I've got a blue star juniper right here, a peony that's going to bloom out in the spring and be gorgeous. Lots of vinca along the pathway. And then I've got a stone path right here that leads to the vegetable garden. I just opened up this area right here to give me a second entrance to the vegetable garden. Then I have a pathway leading to the bench where I can just sit and relax and look back at the house. And then my husband purchased me this bird bath right here, and it looks so beautiful in this spot. I love it so much. And the cat loves it, the bees love it. I haven't seen the first bird on it yet, but the cats and the bees definitely love this bird bath. But I've got a snow white mock orange shrub right here that I just planted, and it's doing really well. It's got a couple of brand new shoots on it. And then I've got a lilac, a reblooming lilac that's gonna have really pretty pink blooms on it right here. I've got some low growing variegated euonymus that's gonna stay evergreen right here in a drift in front of these shrubs. This one right here is a Canyon Creek abelia, and I want you to come closer and look at the blooms on this because it is really, really pretty. It's been blooming nonstop since I put it in the ground, and the pollinators love this shrub. It has a really nice wild kind of habit, and I just think it's really pretty with some of the more structured plants that I have it paired with. I've got some sky pencil hollies lining the back fence line right here. That's going to be good evergreen structure. I've got a Forever Goldie. I believe this is called a Forever Goldie arborvitae that's going to always have that lime green gold rich tone to it. It's going to grow up and be a nice evergreen piece. Now this right here I love. I want you to see if you can capture these red fruits. This is a Kusa dogwood tree. We ended up digging out a poplar tree that was right here. We replaced it with this Kusa dogwood tree. It produces this beautiful red fruit in the fall, and I absolutely love it. And then it's going to have really pretty white flowers in the spring like other dogwoods have. So love this tree. I think it's going to be absolutely gorgeous. Let's cross back around to this side. All right, so right here I transplanted my vanilla strawberry hydrangea. This is a gorgeous, gorgeous hydrangea, and it's a panicle. It's turning this really beautiful shade of red, pinkish red. And right now it is a little bit stressed still from the transplant, but next year it's gonna be absolutely phenomenal. So glad that I moved this right here. I have some barberry, royal burgundy barberries, 3 of them. They're gonna stay smaller, so it'll be really pretty here in the front of the border, along with some of my vinca. And then I think I forgot to mention the pink gara over here in front of the bird bath where the cat is. Those pink gara are absolutely gorgeous, very drought tolerant, will be wonderful next year as long as they can survive our winter. Occasionally I lose them in the winter time, but hopefully they'll do good. So let's go back this way. So this is a good behind the scenes look at my hydrangea hedge. These are my Limelight hydrangeas. I've got 10 of them right here. I've got green giant arborvitaes lining the wood line. This is our property line, so we want these evergreens to grow up really big to cover anything that we might see in the winter time when all of the woods drop their leaves. And my hydrangea hedge has just been absolutely gorgeous. These blooms are huge. I need to come back in and cut a bunch of these for a Christmas project that I have planned. So I'll probably be doing that soon. So we're back up here near the cottage garden. You can see the house behind me and the landscaping that we have done there. All of those knockout roses that you see in the background, those are coming out, and I'm replacing them with some other things that are going to be really beautiful. But let's go back around this direction. We haven't seen this side of the cottage garden yet. So right here we're walking through the grass, and then we'll circle back around on that other path that we haven't seen. But I've got some more cosmos right here, some more catmint. I've got some sun patience, some speedwell right here. It's a really pretty purple speedwell. It's about ready to cut back. But check out these dahlias. Look at those blooms. Are those not so pretty? This came back from last year. I had planted tubers out last year, and this survived the winter and came back and gave me some beautiful blooms. This right here is a Pugster white butterfly bush. I'm probably going to move this because I have driftwood behind it and I want to be able to see the driftwood and have something lower growing right here. But I will definitely find a place for this because the butterflies love it. I've got a bloomables rose right here. Can you see that? This isn't the freshest bloom, but oh my goodness. The fragrance on this is phenomenal and it is just such a pretty rose. I love this so much. So down low, I have some different types of salvia lining both sides of the dry creek bed right here. We're gonna cut back up this pathway and then head to the other side of the vegetable garden. All of this right here is gladiolas and irises that bloom out at different times in the season. So super pretty right here. So now we're gonna go on this side of the cottage garden. I've got more sun patience, catmint, my not bobo hydrangea, but my Limelight hydrangea standard. More cosmos that are really tall, but beautiful flowers. These are taller than me, but so pretty. So right here I have a white speedwell or Veronica that's doing really well. This is a proven winners variety I just put in this year. I believe this is Queen of Sweden. I have a rose that's about to bloom out right here. I had cut it way back earlier this season because it wasn't doing well, and it's flushed back out. And I think whatever was wrong with it earlier in the season doesn't seem to be phasing it now. So that's really good. We keep coming this way. I've got more catmint right here. This is probably the Six Hills Giant variety because it is quite giant, but in the spring it is covered in the purple blooms and then it does flush out again. So there's still a few left on it right now. On this side, I've got lots of white vinca. This has made me fall in love with vinca. It's so pretty and it's doing so well. So much more vinca in the garden next year. That's why I planted some vinca around the pathway over there and on the other side in the new flower bed, because I saw how well they do in my garden. So I'm gonna do lots more of that and get them planted so they can turn into this before the season is over. But I've got some lemon coral sedum right here in a little drift. Then on this side, continue with the white vinca. I've got different varieties of roses through here. I've got another double knockout rose right here. This is a spirea that stays this pretty chartreuse color. More vinca. And then this right here is one of my absolute favorites in the garden. This is a Rose of Sharon. It's the pink chiffon variety by Proven Winners, and it is absolutely gorgeous. Come take a look at these blooms. The shade of pink on this pink chiffon Rose of Sharon is so pretty, and it has just bloomed and bloomed and bloomed. Look at how many blooms are just on like this one stem. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then more to come. So very nice. All right, so this is one of the new areas that I just planted out. If you all saw those videos, I was geeking out about these plants. I was so excited. I've got 4 powwow echinacеas here in the front that stay really short and have a really bright pink in the orange center, of course. And then I believe this is Prairie Splendor or Splendor Prairie. I think it's Prairie Splendor echinacea right here behind it. The flowers are bigger, a little bit lighter of a pink, but it looks so good right behind the powwow echinacea. And then I have 3 of these, I think they're called meant to be Queen Nectarine agastache, I think is what they are. They're Proven Winners agastache. These get 3 foot tall, 3 foot wide. I planted 3 of them in a drift right here. All of these are perennial, so they are gonna come back next year, and they are absolutely gorgeous together. This is the Encore Azalea. It is the Autumn Majesty. It's a really pretty purple flower right here. It is also evergreen, so this is gonna cover my hose line that leads all of my drip. So this is gonna be a really great plant to have right here in this spot. If you come a little bit closer, try to get a view of this. This is the Jazz Hands variegated Chinese fringe flower right here. This is going to get about 6 foot tall, 4 foot wide, and it's evergreen, and it is going to be phenomenal in this spot. This is what is behind all of my echinacea and my agastache, and this is going to be gorgeous. This is the foliage it has all year. All right, now this bed is still quite a bit in development. I just continued this flower bed on and around this direction this year. It's because my husband planted all of these tomato plants against the fence line, and I decided to mulch around them. But while I was at it, I decided to go ahead and mulch for a new flower bed as well. So even though I have all these tomato plants in the background, they will not be there next year, and I'll be able to plant some really good background plants behind a lot of these other things later this fall or in the spring. If you look on this side, I've got a really pretty rose right here. I have a iceberg rose, a climbing iceberg rose that will climb along the fence line. That's right here. I've got a Bali hibiscus rose of Sharon that's gonna grow up. This will fill out the space over here. I've got another Forever Goldie arborvitae. Right here I have a spilled wine weigela. I just put it in the ground. I've not got to see it with any blooms yet, but this is going to be really pretty. I've got an angelic blue juniper. I haven't planted out my 9-bark yet, but that's going to be a really nice backdrop. I've got a little haughty hydrangea right here. Just planted out this catmint. I've got a phlox back here that dots down the line. I've got drift roses, Millennium Allium that I just planted in a drift right here, right behind some balloon flowers. Right here behind my Millennium Allium, I have an incredible hydrangea that I got teeny tiny. It's put on quite a bit of growth, so next year it's going to be absolutely gorgeous, and I'm so excited about this. I've got 3 of those in a line right here. So we'll just keep going down. I've got more drift roses, another incredible hydrangea, more phlox, another drift rose, more phlox, another incredible hydrangea, another drift rose. I've got some coreopsis back here, a silver king euonymus that's going to get really tall and stay evergreen and just provide really pretty color in the winter time all year long, really. And then we end this bed with a little haughty hydrangea. So this is my shade to part shade flower bed. I expanded it some this year as well. I've got lots of different hydrangeas in here. I've got bloomstruck. I've got a Gatsby oak leaf hydrangea, some old-fashioned hydrangeas. I put in Skyview hydrangeas, just so many different hydrangeas that are all very new, so they haven't done much this year, but this bed is going to be gorgeous next year and for years to come. I've got lots of hostas lining the front of the flower bed. They are a really pretty chartreuse green color on these. Some of them I need to come and pull off some of the not so pretty foliage, but I divided all of these up whenever I brought them home so I could get more, and so they're still getting rooted in, and they are producing a lot of new growth. So even though some of these outer leaves are ratty and tatty, look at all of the new leaves that are coming out. It's going to be really, really pretty. So when I come to This bench right here, it's another bench that looks out towards the house, and I can see all the flower beds in front of me, but I've got brunnera on each side of the stone pathway, more hostas that are going to get taller towards the back. I've got a viburnum right here. I think it's a Chinese viburnum. It'll have like the big snowball size blooms on it in the spring, hopefully. More hydrangeas, more hostas, and this is just going to be a really gorgeous spot. So I'm really pleased with how this is coming together. I think Claudia is too. She likes to hang out on the bench over here. All right, I'm back over towards the house. We are now on the south facing side of the house. The flower bed that you see right in front of the porch over here with the knockout roses, this is the other side that we're going to be redoing. So I'm going to be pulling out the knockout roses. I already pulled out everything that was in front of them. We're going to be expanding that flower bed out so I can sit more to be able to layer some things there. But if you look over here towards the courtyard, come over this way. This whole area where there's grass currently, I don't know if you can see this hose right here in front of me. All of this, if I can convince my husband, all of this is going to turn to a flower bed. So we're going to have all of our stepping stones, all of our pathways leading to the house and back towards the courtyard are going to be within the flower bed in the mulch, because I'm just not happy with how the grass is growing between the stones. It's not staying well manicured. The type of grass that we have is like spidering out over top of the stones, and it's just not looking well kept. So we're gonna turn all of this into flower bed, and then come a little bit closer. My hopes right here are to have a little fountain or a tiered bird bath or something dramatic and really pretty right here in this spot. This is the center of this area. And then I'm gonna plant either some boxwood hedges or these little tater tot arborvitaes around it. But then all of this other will be mulched, and it'll include all of these flower beds, but everything is coming out of the flower beds except for my climbing roses over here and maybe the hydrangeas that I just planted out this year. Those will stay, but everything else is coming out. I'm gonna rework all of this area, and it's gonna be so good. So stay tuned for that. So this courtyard right here, we also are gonna be doing a lot of work on. I want to create some stone L-shaped raised flower beds in here to make it a little more intimate, to go along with the courtyard theme and vibes, and it'll be a little bit more formal. We have the greenhouse right here behind me, but then I'll take you towards the backyard. These are new containers. I've not actually planted anything in them yet. These are just sitting in there because I haven't found a home for these. These are white pillar rose of Sharon's, but I just plopped them in there in a container. I'm going to put some emerald green arborvitaes and cut them into topiaries here in these containers, I believe, but we'll keep going this way. This stone wall that you see behind me was just installed by my husband this year. It was a huge wall of clay dirt, and it was so nasty, so ugly, and this stone wall has made a huge difference in the backyard. It has made it a really lovely spot. We still need to landscape everything behind it. It's very wild and overgrown back there, but just having the stone wall right now is phenomenal. He did such a good job. We still need to continue it further down, but we ran out of stones and it got really hot. So maybe that'll be something he works on this fall or maybe in the spring, but it's looking really good. All right, right here in this space, I planted out these emerald green arborvitaes to cover the gas tank. I've got a opening day viburnum that's gonna grow right here. Then I've got this small little flower bed that I planted out this year with some clearance plants. I've got blanket flower, more pink Gara, I've got some scabiosa, some tater tot arborvitaes, and then we continue this way. I've got 2 butterfly bushes. These are the Pugster White butterfly bushes. However, there used to be a big stepping stone right here we removed, and I remulched because we bought this new porch furniture, so we don't need an entrance here anymore. So I think I'm going to plant up some Encore azaleas right here to add some more evergreen interest. Then on this side, I've got some more catmint around this climbing rose right here. I've got another climbing rose growing up on the column here, some hostas, some boxwoods, more hosta, more brunnera, and then I've got a line of some really pretty hydrangeas right here. I've got some more roses. Now this rose right here is my James Galloway, and it is gorgeous. You can see the difference in these blooms. This one that's more white, this is an older bloom. The one that is more pink is a fresher bloom, but they smell amazing, and I'm so excited to have this rose grow up right here. So guys, thank you so much for joining me on this September garden tour. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. I love seeing how everything is blooming still here in September, and seeing just how much work has gone into making these gardens what they are. Again, these gardens are only 3 years old. Please like and subscribe to the channel if you'd like to see more gardening tours and other gardening content. I try to post videos 3 times a week, and I appreciate you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Happy gardening.